Hello and welcome to today's stream slash video. In today's episode, I want to thank all of you for tuning in for building set number 75311 with me. It is a Lego Star Wars set, as it can be heard out of the number 75 in the beginning, and it's the Imperial Armoured Marauder. It's a rather small set, I would say, but nonetheless, I'm sure it will be an enjoyable build. Let me just look up the instruction manual really quickly. And while we do that, I can already switch over maybe to our other cam layout so that you can see what we are doing. Alright, so I hope all of you had a great day, and thank you so much for actually clicking on this video. I very much appreciate it. While we are downloading the instructions or opening it up, so to say, let's already open the box and see what we are getting here. Alright, so the contents of this set are the instruction manual as a printed booklet, as well as four building steps, all out in this numbered bag, which I will set aside for now. Besides step number 1, let me just show you the printed version of the instruction manual for just a second. So it is one of these sets where we sadly do not have any red markings around the bricks that we are putting onto the main build. So sadly, it is not really that well visible in my eyes. But other than that, it's totally fine. It's always a very simple instruction manual that can be followed quite easily, I would say. And in the end of it, we always have this sort of parts list, which includes all the parts which are put into this set. Alright, so let's get started. As always, I'm using the online version of it, which is just a little bit more convenient for me. And other than that, let's get building. By emptying step number 1, I'm gonna try to be a little delicate while putting all this out so it's not too annoying in terms of sounds. And we are going to start with the 2 minifigurines from the first step before we actually getting into building the main part of this set, which is the little armored vehicle. I personally got this set because I wanted to have the stormtroopers that are included in it. I guess this is one of the sets out of the Mandalorian TV series from what I've read about it, but I'm not completely sure on that, due also to the fact that I have sadly not watched it yet. But I very much just appreciated the stormtroopers included in it, because from at least from what the box says, it's just a regular model of it, which I did not have a lot of. And at the time, this set was on rebate quite a lot, so I thought I might as well get it. This is the first minifigurine. I'm sorry, but I do not know the name of. I would have to maybe check, maybe we can read it on the box. It only has a one-sided print on the head piece, and let's see if it's Grief Karga as the box says. Like mentioned, I sadly have not watched this series, so I cannot talk about the authenticity of the figurine, but what I can say is that we have a printed body piece as well as a printed leg piece. Alright, one of the three minifigurines that actually made me want to get this is also built in the first step of it, which is this yellow stormtrooper, which is a little bit like a sand trooper. Also, I should have probably waited with putting the head on because there is a little how do you call these ones actually? Um, a side piece like cape, I suppose, but just a very small one out of some cloth fabric, I guess you could call this material. I'm not completely sure about it. Also, on the back side, there is one trans clear element which has two studs on the back, and it can be put upon a minifigure's head, which I think will be used for the backpack. Yes, I appreciate that build quite a lot. I think it's kind of cool. Alright, let's actually put together the backpack and we will see how this looks put together completely. There's also two lightsaber grips included in this little minifigurines build, which are put into white color. I have not yet seen this part in this color, to be honest, but I'm pretty sure it's not exclusive here. I'm sure there are some sets where this was used. But here it is the backpack of the Stormtrooper, together with the little cape that I've mentioned, and you can see it has a different print to the usual Stormtrooper helmets. Alright, so now that we have built both of our minifigurines from step 1, let's continue onwards and just put these to the side. Also, I'm very much apologizing if I look a little bit like a mess today. It's been very, very hot here recently, and sadly, even though it is night right now, it's still like 25 degrees outside and very humid conditions. So, as you can maybe imagine, it's terribly hot. So, also, I apologize a lot for any background noises. That's probably just the two fans that I've been running in the back. I hope it is still bearable in terms of audio quality, even though these factors are a little bit of a problem. Also, right now we are just putting together the little brick built mortar that is also included in this box. Alright, so let me show you this one as well. This is how it's looking like. I kind of actually appreciate that they included this in the box. That's kind of cute. Alright, so now that we have got this done, we can finally start with our main build, which is this little carriage for the troopers. Cool. Alright, so we are starting out with some plates in black and in dark bluish gray. Always great colors to build with. And up top there is another black plate, which is actually 2, 4, 6, 10 by 6. That's big. I actually appreciate that a lot. That's a rather good part to use in a lot of different builds. So this is how we are looking on step 4 of it. Let's continue on. Let's see what is awaiting us. Top there is one of these plates which can be hooked onto how do you call this actually, a turning dish, I guess, um, so that you could, for example, rotate a turret, or like the headpiece of the ATST also locked onto one of these. A rather nifty part to have. Some chrome 1x1 studs that are being put up here, and then there's some side plating in light bluish gray. But let me show you what we've done by step 9. We have put up some of these. What kind of color is this? I think this is nougat. Colored 1x10 plates up top of some light bluish gray 1x1 plate, 1x10 plates, and this little 1x1 stud in chrome. Alright. We are putting some connection plates up front. And making it a little bit more solid up top. Up top there's some more of these chrome colored 1x1 studs and some connector pieces that will be used for the sides. This is being followed up by another one of these layers. And up front there is a trans clear red piece. Appreciable to have in a lot of builds because you can, for example, use them as brake lights. Alright, so next up we have a little bit of the inside structure to build. But they're using a black grill piece. Again, one of those trans clear red pieces. And then it's the seating area in this sand brown, I guess. Followed by one of these sand brown seats. Also cool to have. I appreciate that they included that. And a black 2x2 slope piece. Alright, let's continue on the back side. I'll just shove the rest of the parts into view, I guess. I did not realize. Sorry. Alright, so we are putting up more of these grill pieces, and we also had this 1x4 bricks in dark bluish gray to put on. Up top there is more plate layering. Into the middle of the build here in between, we are putting a window frame element, which is kind of a nice addition. So it's open, but it's very structurally integral. And some side pieces, just to build up the walls a little more properly. Alright, so we've put on the side walls to it. I appreciate that they included so many of these pieces. They are quite usable. And up top, we're putting another one of those nougat colored 1x10 plates on each side to basically make it more structurally safe. Alright. This is how we are looking at it, step 21. And up top there's some trans clear red 1x1 studs and some 1x4 plates in dark bluish gray. Alright. And up in the front, more connections also with these transclear red elements. This is the substep. Let's see if you can see. It's a little bit hard for my camera to pick up, but it's not very something special. Just a little bit more of structural building. Alright, So this is how we're looking at the moment. All right. The last step of this first building bag that we opened, or like the first step that we just concluded, is putting on some side plating that will already probably be some decorations that we will be able to see later on. This is how it looks like now, and this is just mirrored to both sides. Alright. Also, there's one more of these lightsaber grips, by the way, included, which can be useful. Alright. Let me just get a little bit more comfy with my hands. Alright. Let's continue on. Step 2. Apparently will be a lot of the side builds, so I guess we will be mirroring quite some stuff. We're already starting off with quite a lot of small parts for the bottom. Just some plating for the bottom side. And then we're continuing with a little side build on step 26. Starting off with a 2x8 plate and this black rail piece here. Alright. Alright, this is how we're looking like on 31. Just lots and lots of build-up of rather random parts to give it the look that we're striving for. Alright, so terribly sorry, just gonna move my mic a little bit more back. I hope that's okay in terms of quality. Alright, so this is how it's looking like at step 34. We have added quite a lot of build-up to the sides and also some slope pieces to the top side. More slope pieces for the top side, and a technique brick. Ah, that's kind of cool. So basically, this is how it's looking like before. That's on the turntable, and it's supposed to be a little gun. And with this connector plate and also a black lightsaber grip, we can just make this connection, and it looks like it's attached floating. That's very cool. Another side build for this one. Let's scroll through till we are actually finishing this little side step, and then I'm gonna show you what we are doing here. Consists of sloped pieces and a lot of plates in different sizes and colors are often either light or dark bluish gray, which I think is a very useful um, thing to see that you have all of these very usable colors. All right, this is one of the side things that will be attached in front of the turret and where it will go spool through, I guess. All right, and it's now being able to move in up to this point, which is really cool. Awesome. So now we just have to add some more slopes to the bottom side to make it more structurally safe. And then it will already be attached to our main build. Alright, and now let's put it out here. This is where it will attach to. Like with this Technic brick, I suppose. And because there's some slopes here before, we have to slide it in on here and then just press in the Technic brick. And it's fitting without actually moving. And this is still able to be controlled. Alright, looks kind of cool already, I think. I appreciate it. Great, so let's basically do the same thing for the other side, where we're doing the plating first, where it will hook into, and afterwards we are doing the side step. Alright, Oh, actually, get rid of this clear a little bit. Alright, well, let's continue on. I'm gonna do most of the build again till a certain point, maybe like 50 or so, before showing you some of the steps. But basically, we are just doing the same thing mirrored that we've done on the other side, just adding a lot of different connections, grill pieces, plates, and so on to give it the look that this is striving for. All right, let's go till 51, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a close-up of it. All right. All right. All right, we have the turret added again, which can be turned on this black turntable plate. It's a little bit more hard to move. All right, now I think it's fitting a little better. It was just not attached that well. All right. I'm just gonna drink something really quick. And let's get back. This is how the side part is looking like again, just mirror to the other part, to the other one. And it's attaching on top again, and is used for actually having this little sort of build to hook the turret into. On the bottom side there's some more plating, or like slope pieces basically for additional support. And then we are putting it on here. Here is the Technic connector, and this hooks into here, into this one. It's quite massive by now, I guess. I like it. Alright, now we're putting on some of the top side. Lots of plating and some tiling to be done. Also there's some slopes for adding a little bit of 3D layering. And now it's completely attached to this, so it does not even wobble anymore. There's some of these door elements which have the hinge part to it. It snaps together and then it can be switched in the angle that you want, and they use it for actually plating this here off, which is probably like a storage unit for something. We have to do this on both sides. Alright. On top we're doing more plating to connect everything even more safely. This is how it's looking like at the moment. This is how it's looking like. These are two times the same part. It's free 1x1, starts in trans blue, and it's attaching here on the back to it right here. These ones. And to the middle sections of it, so this is a 1x3 plate, and in the middle there are connectors too, so this is how it's being hooked into it. And on the sides there are slope pieces. I very much like the shape that this is getting. It's looking cool. Alright, this concludes our second step. Now we are moving forward to step number 3. Alright, so let's see what's included here. So we're putting together the next two stormtroopers. It's awesome. So the leg pieces and the chest pieces are all the same. So they have one different leg on each of the sides, like different prints on both of them, but no printed arm pieces or anything like that. Alright, so besides that, we are getting the actual blasters, not the stud shooter ones, which is always great. I very much like this look of blaster the best. And then we have two printed head pieces, but both of them only have one print to them. There is no changeable face. I hope you can see that. I think it's really cute though. I love it. Let's put on the helmet of our first little stormtrooper, and the second one I will show you as well. So I think this is actually supposed to be a female one, but not sure completely. Alright. Other than that, both of them, like I mentioned, are completely the same. Alright. I like the helmet actually. Like I'm gonna give you a little bit of a more close-up on the helmet. I guess it is the standard style for these helmets, but I think it's cool. They use different colors to print it, and I'm kind of used to the older ones, um, which had a way lazier design to them. I'm not completely sure. I hope that this is actually the regular ones, which were also used, for example, in episode 6 of the movie franchise. But I'm not sure on that. Maybe it's a little bit of a different one because it is from the Mandalorian series. Alright, so now we will be building the front part of our build. Before that, let me take a quick sip. And let's continue on. We have a 6x6 plate in black and some dark bluish gray pieces added on the bottom of it. Alright. This is step 64. We are adding some more of these window frame elements here, which are used for rigidity and actually having like a see-through wall inside of this little transportation unit. So it's getting a little bit more of the feeling of an actual vehicle where they have to crawl through and they can actually reach the parts. I like that design choice. I think it's actually so far I think the actual build of it is very fun. And also the parts that are being used are great. They can be used for so many different applications. I have to say this is one of the few Lego sets I've built in the last couple of weeks that I would actually say are these parts are very usable. That's great to actually like see that Lego sometimes does implement that too. All right. Let me just put the camera in a little bit better maybe. Alright, so we have put on some regular bricks in 2x3, and what we are now doing is plating it off on the top of it. So this is the plating in light and dark bluish gray again. Then on the sides there's some stub connectors to be added. Let's prepare the second one too before we actually putting it on. Alright, some trans red pieces. The 1x1 studs we've seen earlier, also a stud connector up top. I guess brick modified, or how these are called, plate modified. I think I've heard for these ones. As a name, we're adding this sort of style to the front of it too, with more plates in 1x3 and 1x4. This is how it looks like put together, and this is being done twice to actually have both sides covered in the same way. And it's looking like this now. Step 71 is done. Let's move on to more slopes. 2x1 slopes with a height of 2 bricks up front to create this look that we see in the front of the package too. And up top there's more brick modifieds so that we can put them on here, and we have some more plating probably done afterwards. Or a turret or something like that. Yes, let's do the plating here, so it's on the right side first. Another one of these chrome colored 1x1 studs. A slope piece up here. And some more of the plates and slopes that we've already been using for most of this build. Alright. This is how the plating for the front side looks like. And it's being attached down here on the bottom side of this brick modified 2x1. I hope I'm calling these right. Alright, so I like the form and curvature that this gives off. Up top we are adding a stud shooter. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of stud shooters, but due to this being a playset, I guess it's fitting for the topic of it. We are also adding some more plating before we structure this off with a light bluish gray 2x3 plate, which has like this angled tiling that is being put up top. Alright, now that I've shown you the first one of these two steps, the other side is done the complete same way. Let's just see where the last part is that I'm looking for. Do I have the last part that I'm looking for? I guess I'm just a little bit blind right now. Let's see if I can actually just forgot to maybe empty it out or something. Well, maybe it is just not included. I usually never come across that. Well, as I sometimes have with a very few sets. I'm very sure that I've just, I don't know, have not seen it properly. I probably am not gonna look for it much longer. Oh, we will just accept that we do not have the side of this. So the front one here, which is just the row that this creates. It's okay. I will have a look later on again, maybe I will find it. If not, there's always the possibility to just write an email to the LEGO customer support and just get the part that I'm missing. Usually that does not happen, that you're actually missing a piece, but I mean, sometimes even the machine packing at their factory can can be a little flawed, but also maybe it's just lying somewhere around my desk and I just don't see it right now. That happens a lot of the times where I feel like I'm missing a piece. If I look around a little bit more thoroughly, I'm sure it will come up somewhere. But due to this not being structurally important or anything like that, and just another side detailing, I might as well just do that later on and not basically waste the time of the viewers here. So now I have finished the other side. As you see, you can't even really tell that well that there is a part missing if I don't show it from the side. But yeah, we will see if it's included. If not, like I mentioned, I'm just gonna write an email. Or let's have one more look to it. Maybe like all on this table, maybe somewhere here. Oh, I am actually just blind. I actually already found it. So let's just put it back on. I'm just gonna put away one of these tiles and then it should already fit down here. Just gonna add this to the build and then I can show you how step 79 looks like. So now we have it on both sides. Sorry for my little confusion. Alright, let's move forward with putting some plating up top of it. Well, probably all of this will be made a little bit more structurally safe. And also there's some slopes to be added. Alright, so some more slope pieces in 1x2 with a 2 brick height up front, and the little side build is finished on step 81. I left a look with the little seat in it. It's cute. Alright, so let's attach this to our main build. So there's 3 studs left of plating space on both of these parts, and as you can see, we can just basically hook them together here and press down on it. So alright, oops. Let's hold it a little bit differently, and now we have it mounted. It looks kind of cute as well. I like it. Alright, so now we actually put some bricks in the middle to support it. As you can see, it's just up here, some 1x6 bricks that actually have a curvature in them, creating this sort of little door effect. And also with them in place, it's holding up much more safe and it's not wobbly anymore. Alright. Just more structuring the side panels, or like with some plates on the side, just to make everything more safe and secure. Alright, so some more up front and a 1x1 brick. Some wing pieces. All of this stuff is in dark bluish gray, great to use. Looks nice, and the front side also gets this layered 3D effect. I like it a lot so far. Some 1x3 tiles on top, and some rounded corner tiles as well in 1x1. Alright. Creates a cool effect up front. Looks cool. I like it. Alright, so now we have another side build on step 87. Alright, so let's continue. Another transgirl piece. Some hook parts. And this is getting plated off. Alright. Up front there's 2 of these sort of rail elements in a 2x1 plate style. And on the other side we are actually placing this printed element. This printed element which will be used as like this sort of control panel. And it's appreciable that they actually included a print for this. So far we had not a single sticker in this set, and it's looking cool. I think it's awesome that there is no stickers in this set. Alright, and this is just being hooked into the front here. I'll just show it to you on camera. We have these hook pieces. And they are just being put in there, and then we can put it up top. Alright, this is where we add. Let's put the one by one stuff away. And we are already on our fourth and last step. This will be mostly greebling and the side parts and top part of it. Awesome. There is this clear glass panel in it, which is rounded. Awesome part. Alright, so first off, we are putting a lot of these elements here. These are like these inverted sloped pieces for the bottom side, where this will actually slide on if you want to move it. And it's like the structural part too, because it's gonna give it, or like some of the parts, it will give a little bit more rigidity. Alright, this is how this step looks finished. This is step 88. Let's continue onwards. On the next one, we have another trans clear red piece up top on the window frame. And then there's some wing pieces in light bluish gray to basically give everything more structure again. Alright, this is how we're looking like. Just more plating in different shades of gray, basically. Up top there's some tiling and the chrome colored grill pieces. 3 of them by now. That's actually awesome. I'm so sorry. Cool. Alright. And some how is this cornered tile pieces? I'll show you a close-up. So place both of them. I very much like the look of this. Also that it has some interior to it. I think this is a pretty cool set so far. There's a trapdoor element with both sides of it included, which will be used for the rooftop to actually be able to open without being taken off. That's also always cool. Also, this feels like a literal brick, so I don't think this will break very easily. Oh, it's super good to see, especially when it's a playset like this one is. More of the chrome colored grill pieces. And a rounded tile with a stud connector on top. Alright, so this is being hooked into the main part here on the trapdoor hinges and just being put into it. Up front there's also a transgirl wrap piece being used and some sloping to actually give it rigidity. Here are the slopes that hold the window frame in place. Alright, through the middle section, they are now just, I see. So it's a side build where first we need to put these ones together. Let me show you what I mean. This is what we need. It's a 2x4 plate that holds them together, and then up here, I'm just gonna put them in here to give it rigidity and build up the roof a little more. Alright. Alright. This is another one of those hinge connectors that is being placed up front of it. Up top, now we are doing some of the greebilling that I've mentioned with some cheese slopes and some plates again. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you for supporting the stream, TIE Fighter 702. Much appreciated. Hello and good evening. Oh, I don't mind it at all. I'm very much happy if I can interest somebody in my builds. So the aforementioned creeping on the side is done a little bit. I like the little sloping with the G-slopes up front a lot. I think this creates a little bit more spacing up to with the tiles up here. And here is a little rail piece. Let's see how they are actually going to use this. I guess there will be a hatch or something put in here still, because we are putting on some of the grippy 1x1 pieces here. I guess we will put a hinge plate through this later on. By now we are putting on some more tiles up here. So this is the tiling that is being done. And I guess here we will be hooking into something. Yes, it's looking like a little ledge is being built next. So this little part here just moves downwards like this. And if I place the parts correctly, it's also possible to enclose it completely. It's a little bit of a stretch to actually do it, but you just have to press it in just this little tiny amount to make this few couple um, well, it's not even millimeters, it's way less than millimeters um, between those parts that actually make it block a little bit, but just with the slightest bit of force it clicks into it. All right, cool. So now we see what the glass panel here is being used for. So we're actually attaching it to the backside later on. But first we are placing one more of these very cool colored sand brown seed elements. I appreciate these a lot. They can be used for quite a lot of starships, I think. And then up in the back there is this panel piece, which, let me just see, I don't think that there is that many problems in terms of scratching on this piece, even though it was not packed separately at all, which is nice to see. All right, and if you remember in the beginning, we have placed this little plate here, this 4x4 sort of turntable plate, and because we now have a rounded off part, we can actually put this onto it. And let me just see to put it on properly. It's actually rotating on here, like it would actually be a turntable plate by itself. I like this mechanic a lot. Lego introduced this sort of turning mechanic a couple of years ago. Earlier than that, there was a special piece that was needed for that, which also looked a little bit like this 4x4 piece, just with another top side. Hello so much. Thank you for following the stream. That's so great of you. Thank you for support. Thank you for the support. Much appreciated. All right. Hope you're having a great evening. I can speak German. Not exactly German, but in the close vicinity. Is my accent that terrible? I apologize a lot for it. Also, mentioning I've reached step 102 by now, which is putting on some jumper plates on the top of it, of these like 6x6 rounded off plate. And the bottom there's the last of the trans clear red pieces being used. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. I'm trying to practice English as much as I can, um, so it's sounding a little bit better. Um, but I'm very conscious about having a sort of an accent. I don't seem to really be able to lose it, sadly. Um, it's just something that sticks with me in terms of pronunciation in some parts, I guess. All right, by step 104, we have some of the brick modified one by ones here, which allow us to place another build here on both sides of it. And they're just being used for stud shooters. I think because German is kind of like, how should I say, a little bit harsh in the pronunciation of some of the letters. It's just different when I speak English. So it's like I always fall back to the same sort of uh, usage or in like I don't know, is it, I guess you can say like the sort of muscles that you use in your throat just like are trained to relax and contract in a certain way for because the language we speak all the time is like what we usually are used to. So it's quite hard to lose that sort of um, that sort of, how should I say, um, it's just comfortability, I guess, for the usage of certain letters. Like, for example, R in English and R in German just sound so differently. And that's probably also where it sounds out the most, I suppose. German is a scary sounding language. Quite a little bit, so right? I gotta say, like, um, personally, like, when when my friends say something to me, like, when it's something completely normal and nothing strange or angry at all, um like, friends of mine that do not speak English always think that we're just shouting profanities at each other or something like that. It's hilarious to a certain degree, just because it's just a kind of a harsh language in terms of some of the vocabs, I guess. All right, so we put together the top side um, turret section, I suppose. Also, um, we have the two stud shooters on the sides, which do not actually look that bad incorporated in this build, also because of the sloping of the dark bluish gray down in the back. It's gonna be hooked to the glass panel that we put in before. And let me just show you really quick. It's moving without issues, and it has this sort of stop to it because this plate down here is attached and just collides with the sidewalls, so we cannot overturn it. Makes total sense because it's actually just the backside turret of it. Alright, so from step number 108 forward, we have a little bit of a side build once again. Alright, so for this we have a 4x4 plate in dark bluish gray, which we will build up a little bit, and I'll show you in just a second. There's some hinge pieces which indicate this will be put forward, probably here, because we have some hinge pieces put up on the front. And then there is this sort of, how is this called, an archway, I guess, like a 1x6 brick, which on both sides now will be just underlined with some plating. I'll show you one of the sides because both of them are just mirrored elements. So there's a 2x1 G-slope up top and lots of different style plates in the colors that we've used all over the build, which are these nougat color as well as light and dark bluish gray. I think it's awesome how much of the same sort of color is included in this build, just because you can use so much of it. Like, all of these colors are so useful, like black and dark bluish gray, light bluish gray. Just great for so many different sorts of starship builds, for example, and even for house building. This is how it's looking like by now. I'm just gonna turn it around so top we also have some sloping done already. I hope it is visible and it's not just focusing on me. Yeah, should be. Alright, so the build now continues on with just more plates and basically structuring that we need to do to basically give it all enough rigidity to not just break apart when opening this hatch. I very much suppose, because it's a movable part. Some slopes in light bluish gray, a tile in the middle, 1x2 tile to be exact, and some sloped grill pieces in black. These are awesome as well. Let me just show you. I love the fact that they included these ones as well. Always very good to use in many different applications. Alright, so this is how we're looking like. On step 118, there is a little bit more sloping up here, also done with the same brick as on the front. One 119, this is how we're looking like. Lots and lots of different slopes. Some of them don't even really shine out that much anymore, just because there's so many different slopes. I like the way that this gets gets this sort of 3D effect from the top side to the bottom side, just because it's different heights also. So the angled slope piece for the grill element is used wonderfully. Alright, let's add the last couple of G-slopes, and then we can attach it. Oh, actually, this is the back side of it. Oh, that's cool. I did not even realize. This is having such a cool shape to it. And now, because we have a hinge piece here too, I forgot about that. We can actually just hook this into here. And now it creates an awesome rounded off look in the back. Oh, that's so cool. I think that's great. Also, because of the different height elements, it's just creating such a cool 3D layer. Alright. Next up, we're building the side doors. These are two-sided elements, which then afterwards will be mirrored. This is the bottom side, also with some hinge pieces. And down here we also have some hinge pieces left to attach these ones to. a plating here on the side. Also get some sloping to add to it, and some decorative pieces. We're just putting them onwards here. Cool. And it closes off really well and can be opened even with the turret put completely to the front. Alright, so for the other side, we are doing basically the complete same. Alright, let's put this upward and then the last side door before we finish the front of our build. Alright, so this can also be put down, and we have our second side door finished. And now for the final ledge, which is the top side. The last couple of hinge pieces, a 2x2 plate, and some no tile elements, terribly sorry. Alright, so these hinge pieces here hook to our last connectors up top, and we just throw them in like this. And then we can just basically tilt them down, and it creates this sort of little open window up top. Alright. So by now, what is left is just accessories. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. I very much appreciate the support. TC, thank you so much and welcome to the stream. So, the last pieces that we have to put together actually just go into the side elements that we had here and here. These are these doors, and it basically is just going to be put in here. As you can see, there is some tiles in the middle of it, and these nougat colored tiles are where our little boxes will go on. So these boxes are supposed to include some of the trans clear green studs that are used as like the ammunition, sort of, which is basically put into the stud shooters usually. So I'm not gonna do that, but I'm still gonna put one of those little stud elements in each of them, just to basically include a little bit of decoration in it. Also, before actually putting this in, I definitely want to show you these very cool printed little box elements. I hope this focuses properly. So we have the Imperial logo on two of the sides, and this sort of writing on the other ones, here and here. And it's very cool, I think, that they actually printed these. I would not have expected these to actually even be included in here. These are just some great elements to be used for so many different little creations of your own too. And it's awesome that they are putting in little detailing like this. Hello, thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. I hope this stream is enjoyable today. Let's put these side um, these little boxes in here into the cargo base, I suppose. And it's really cool because you can just close off the compartments with these hinge elements and they will not fall out, but you can still see they're inside there. So cool. Let's do that on both sides. And also, I guess I can just put the little stud elements up top of the actual stud shooters just to actually uh, have all of them included and we are not missing any pieces. Alright, so apparently a couple of them are extra. I'll just get all of the extra stuff into the view and then let's actually place our minifigurines inside of it, I guess. Let's see if we can do that and if it is fitting in there properly. Actually it is. That's awesome. So the first two are already in. They have a seating area in here for basically all of them. Theoretically, there would be four, I think, that could be fitted in here. So I could just also take out one of them and put them into the turret section of it. Let's see if getting it out is as easy as putting it in. So it is not really roomy, but I think it's fitting quite well and you can still handle it. So as mentioned, we have this back hinge to it that we can just seat our second one and it's closing off properly without an issue. And then we have the last one which we can just put wherever we want. So basically I guess it would make sense to just take out one of the regular stormtroopers and put them up front because two of them don't have a backpack on, so you can just put them on any seat. But our third stormtrooper has this backpack on him, which we will be still able to use as long as we just put them on here. I think they accounted for this quite well by actually just having like the second part a seating area like this. First I was questioning why, but it made sense. I think this way you can actually seat him down. Yes, you can. And now all of them are actually, as you can see, it's not falling out, secured in here and placed properly. So let me just see if we could find a way to store this little thing here too. I guess if you, well, you could theoretically just put this in into here somewhere and everything is locked up. I apologize, my voice is dying a little bit. But nonetheless, we are doing a little review of this set now that we have built it. And for this purpose, we are going to the Lego product page for the Imperial Marauder. So as aforementioned, the set has the number 75311 and it is consisting of 478 different pieces, which is quite a good deal, I think, for not for the regular price of $39.99, but this is one of the sets that actually is available on basically any major retail store. So, for example, I'm very certain that if you walk into, for example, Target or Walmart or any of the European alternatives to it, you will definitely be able to find this set, and usually it should be off at least 10%. Um, I would look for this set if it would be going under $30. Quite definitely, I would not pay more than that. I got to say, but that's with all the regular style release sets that I do not think it's the best choice to first of all buy them on sites like Lego.com themselves, because they charge the highest price for these sets as long as they are on the market. And also, um, I think for $40 you would get better sets, but for the sweet spot of this, for like 25 to $30, I think it is rather a good buy, to be completely honest. Not only does it include lots of minifigures that are actually quite wanted, because yes, it is a regular stormtrooper, but these sort of sets which include, for example, stormtroopers or clone troopers, usually are very well reciprocated from the community, just because usually if you want to build, for example, your own creation of like a battle scene or something like that, usually you need quite a lot of different minifigurines, which should be the same sort of style of armor at least. So especially if you have three minifigures in the box included, which are stormtroopers, it usually is a rather a good recommendation. Also from the standpoint of somebody collecting minifigurines, just because if you think about it, these sort of minifigurines, while still on the market, usually go for at least $3 to $5, depending on the actual minifigure. So it depends. For example, if it is a snow trooper or a regular stormtrooper and stuff like that. But they are very useful. Also, if you just want to, for example, build like I mentioned, a creation of your own, having a bunch of similar style stormtroopers always is very useful. Um, so this is my personal reason why I got this set, was definitely not the build of the little Marauder here, but actually just the fact that there is quite a lot of different stormtroopers included. And I'm definitely not let down by that, because I think that the stormtroopers themselves are done very nicely. I especially like the helmet. um, Denmark, it is so cheap if you go to fabric store. Oh, that is awesome! I sadly I've never been to the official Lego factory store, but I've heard great things about it. So actually, can you purchase minifigurines like just the regular stormtroopers there? That would be super cool. I would totally like want to check that out sometime myself then, because I'm very much into this sort of minifigure collecting. Um, Also, I wanted to mention that even though I did not purchase this set for the build of the vehicle, or like for the vehicle in general, I got to say I enjoyed the building experience a lot too. It's lovely actually, because it has a lot of um, different building techniques. It's using so many different angles in here. It's using many different slopes and hinge pieces, and it's just overall it was a very fun build. I checked the time, so I did it on stream and I talked a little bit about it. But still, I needed like 1.5 hours, which is acceptable, I would say. Um, I try to do it in a rather normal time, to actually see if it's worth it in terms of the experience. And I got to say, I think it actually is um, a lot of fun to build. So also it's using a lot of great pieces in terms of um, color of the pieces. So we have a lot of black and gray in it, which is always great to use on so many different builds. And other than that, also like a lot of similar style hinge pieces or slopes, also all in light or dark bluish gray. Always great choices. You like puzzles? Yeah, I think that's something I completely understand. I think puzzling can be a lot of fun. Um, it it's just needing so much space usually, which is some of the issues I had with it. But I did some, like I did a lot of puzzles when I was a little younger. Um, I just love these sort of thousand piece puzzles that you can do about like these nature scenes. I just love nature in general, and it just always like drew me in to like puzzle out some dolphins or something like that. um, I also gotta say, I think Lego to a certain part is a little bit like a puzzle. Um, Maybe not so much when following instructions like this, but just like when you're just presented with a bunch of different bricks and you want to build something intricate out of it, it sometimes can be the same sort of feeling to it, I think. Um, I want to mention like the Lego art series in this aspect. I loved building the world map to a certain degree. It's a completely different experience, though. It's like layering out a, a picture that you then color out with different sorts of bricks, I guess, like with different little one by one tiles that you just place meticulously in order, or you just do your own thing and just like create your own sort of style to it. I very much enjoyed that too, but it's completely different than building a regular Lego system, for example. So I think this is personally my favorite style of building, just because um, it has a lot of different angles to it. It has a lot of variety, and it's also still this sort of brick size where you can basically build out certain structures in minifigure scale, which I kind of love too, because I think minifigurines can be like such a cute thing if they put some effort into making them, and then you can use these to make the builds that you do a lot more lively, so to say. So it gives it uh, more authenticity. I would say, or like gives it life in itself. Like when you have a bunch of little minifigurines, I think it's the same as when you are building, for example, a model train layout, and you're putting in these little mini. There's also minifigurines for model trains in terms of size and scale, and these always, in my opinion, add a lot of life to it, just because it just make it seem like there's actual people interacting with certain things, and also gives it more of a scale sort of feeling. Like if I if I place this minifigurine on top, you can tell the size of the actual object a lot better than if I take it away, I think, because this way it could also be like micro figure scale, and it could be like huge for the actual minifigure, whereas placing it next to it, you can always sort of get a get a, a feeling for the scale a little bit better too. I love that with, for example, the UCS Millennium Falcon, where you can, if you place Chewbacca on top of it, like looking like he's working on it, like in the fifth episode of the movie franchise, you can just get a much better glimpse for the actual sizing of the model, I think. Um, which I think is always something very appreciable. As aforementioned, I enjoyed the building of this a lot because of the different techniques and the different ways that they attach things to it. Also, it is split up in a very nice way so that you can build the subsections very calmly, and you do not have to fiddle with the whole model too much before you actually just place the last couple of elements, which are mostly decorative anyway. So the structure of it is very much very rigid. I think I could even drop this from some height and it would not break apart too much. So it's also recommendable as a playset quite well. I think it can do a lot as a playset, and this is probably from the the last week worth of sets that I have built, I got to say this is probably the best set to recommend for younger audiences too, just because of of how much actual play value it has. It has a lot of different functions to it, and it also comes with lots and lots of accessories, which at least if I speak from my personal experience as a child, I think I would have loved it, to be honest. Um, Also, it's like in this price category where it's not breaking the bank. It's sort of a nice birthday gift, for example, or a present. If you, for example, have grandchild or something like that. Also, always fits quite well for this sort of range, I think. Um, but if you want to purchase these sets, as mentioned, I always use the Lego website to actually show it off and show you the proper imagery and everything. But I never recommend purchasing from Lego directly, because even with the Lego exclusive releases, you can usually find them a lot cheaper with certain special retail stores for most of them, or if they do not come out in these special retail stores at first, usually they still bring them there. For example, let me give you a couple of examples. So one of the best would be the UCS Star Destroyer as well as the UCS 8080. Both of these sets were Lego exclusive for some time, and some people always get too hyped up by YouTube reviews, especially where it's saying that it's only available there and it's only in this very limited amount, blah blah blah. In reality, though, if you're just a little bit patient, you can always find these sets somewhere else for cheaper. Like especially with stuff like the 8080, the UCS version of it is $800 for the retail price. It's just not worth it. I can really tell you because I've actually built that set. It's not worth like $800 or euros depending on your country. It it is closer to like I even have a hard time saying $600. I would say it would be great value at like 5 to 550. That would be where I would definitely purchase it, especially because it will go up in value after it is taken off of the market. But also it's still a very expensive set, so I think for actually investing it, I would not purchase these expensive sets. I personally do not invest in Lego. I just collect it for the fun of it. So I got it because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I really wanted to have it. But if that's not your sort of deal and you're more like just looking what you could buy for this amount of money, I think for especially for $800, if you really want to invest that much into Lego, buy a lot of different smaller sets, um, that that are actually giving you a better price per piece ratio maybe, or that actually interest you in terms of what it is, um, because these bigger sets are always the most hyped ones, but not the ones that are always the best in terms of fun and in terms of enjoying the build. Actually, that's I think that's two different things actually. Like what you hear in terms of reviews and how much some people are hyping it up, to when you actually build it and you actually try to display it, because also displaying these sort of more these sort of smaller sets, like for example these, or especially also the architecture line and stuff like that, it's just easier than displaying, for example, this huge 8080, which is like I've checked like 2 feet tall or so nearly, and it's just not something easy to put somewhere, and it's also not the best value in terms of pieces either. But I'm striving off a little bit. Terribly sorry for that. Just to summarize the review section of this stream a little bit more, um, I thought this was a very nice build. I did not expect this to be this fun, and I also did not expect the part selection of this to be this great. So I think you could theoretically even part this out if you find this for cheap enough. Also, the minifigurines are always great to put on eBay if you are not actually collecting the minifigurines, but you're actually going for the build of this. Um, as mentioned, it's coming out of, I think, the Mandalorian series. So if you're into these vehicles, then maybe this also is a great fit for you. In terms of pricing, maybe wait till you find something for 25 to maximum $30 would be a good value for this set. Thinking of 4 minifigurines and all in all 478 different parts. So I've seen a lot worse, especially in the Lego Star Wars lineup, because these franchises usually milk their customers quite a bit. And I think other than that, it's I would not say it's for a certain age group. So it is listed for 8 plus. So definitely, you can totally give this to probably even a 6 year old, and it will not be a problem to assemble. Um, but it's also probably looking quite unique in some creations of your own if you're more into scenery building and you just need like a little bit of an addition to it. Um, Other than that, I had a lot of fun with the set, so I can definitely recommend this a lot more than some of the previous ones that I was reviewing, where I was a little bit harsher with them, especially because there were some troublesome builds, like for example the AAT that you maybe know from the Clone Wars series, where I thought they used a lot of like wrong colored parts, like pink in very visible areas actually. They did not do this here at all. So they definitely used up much more muted colors for the build up of it, but also because you can see a lot of it. You can't really hide that much, even though it sounds a little weird to say this because it's like this tank structure, but everything basically opens up, so you would always see it if they would have implemented that. So I guess that's the reasoning behind it, but that's still great for the customer, I think. Um, Speaking of the actual stream, I want to thank everyone that followed today and that supports the stream by viewing and listening to it. I hope that it was an enjoyable experience on both ends. I definitely had a lot of fun talking to you guys and building this set today. Um, I also want to mention I usually stream every day. I stream around 2 to 3 hours, depending on the time that the set takes, and it's usually 11:30 to 12 p.m. around this area. So in Central Europe time, it's around 12 o'clock at night that I usually stream the most. I also do YouTube under Johanna P1 Ace is the name of it. It's linked in the Twitch channel as well if you want to check it out. I usually at the moment just post VODs of my streams, but I also want to get into actually making reviews on there, which are using a little bit more filming technique, where I don't just have the camera set up in this angle, but also give more detailed shots of the actual models that I'm talking about. I hope that you maybe want to tune in for one of the next streams. I very much appreciate the support from all of you guys, and I'm very much looking forward to tomorrow. See you maybe then or at some other time. I wish all of you a great evening or morning or day, depending on the time of day that you're actually watching this. And I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. See you guys soon. Goodbye.